Here we go. Welcome back to Nicholas Comic Corner, Classic plus Non-Classic. This episode number 3157. No, 61, excuse me. And 3055. I have a Star Wars trade, and I have a trade for the Guardian Gamora. Well, member of Guardians of the Galaxy is. The Star Wars trade we have is Mace Windu Twilight Run. Excuse me. A little fun fact with this book. The second ever Mace Windu book published by Marvel Comics. Actually, the first one I order right now because I've read it, but I've never reviewed it before. I checked it. So, this book is only just 4 issues, and it has a story from Star Wars Revelations, which we start off with that. It's called Twilight Run. Written by Mark Bernian, who also writes the short story. George Genty does the main story. Crisscross does basically the Revelation story, with Andrew Dollhouse as cover art for that one shot, and also for the cover for the series. Which, there's the one shot. It's a gorgeous cover. Yeah, we have a story for Lando, Luke, Leia, some character from the High Republic, Darth Vader, Jabba the Hutt. I'm thinking that's Luke also down below, and of course Mace Windu and Thrawn. So this is just basically Mace infiltrating an outpost. This, of course, is obviously set in the prequel era. So basically, according to the synopsis of this is before the events of Episode 1. So this is basically, well, he's not a master yet. Basically, he still has a purple lightsaber. It's him, by the way, riding a ship that looks a lot like one of the boats that's used by Jabba the Hutt. Yep. So we go basically back to the Jedi Temple, which in the Galactic Civil War, this building is the palace of the Emperor. Yes, he took it over right after they decided to wipe out the Jedi because they were a threat to him, because he's a Sith Lord. And he decided to turn the sacred Jedi Temple into his palace, as a way to stick a middle finger to them. Yep, so he's here with this woman here, who I think is supposed to be his apprentice, maybe? I wouldn't be surprised, basically. And of course we have him going on one of the, it looks like one of the fire jets we saw in Episode 2. Yes, I think it's called a Jedi Fighter, I believe it is. Where he even travels this same little thing that... He goes to a planet called Rio Mira in the Vega system, which this actually was popped up a few times in Star Wars. It's like, you look at the outfit, like, oh, is this Hoth? No, it's a completely different planet. It's like, because the fact the original Star Wars trilogy is so ingrained in people's minds, it's like desert planets. What's the first thing place we think of? Tatooine. Despite the fact it was revealed in The Force Awakens that that technically was at the planet that was in Tatooine. That was Jakku. The planet we see in Last Jedi, people by look at the place, looks like it's snow. Actually, it's salt. I think it's Hoth. Nope, not Hoth. Completed planet. Excuse me. People obviously mistake stuff for, and that's the thing with the original movies, is that they are so popular. People love these movies so much that people will make this mistake that certain planets, because the environment is similar to a planet in the original trilogy, that people think it's that planet again. Despite the fact there's a whole galaxy, it's a very common misconception. This planet in particular, I don't think it's ever popped up in anything, unless they make a list up in the comments below, if the planet Romira, Romira, it says the 5th moon around the primary Vega system, very cold. Yeah, so he sees basically like a whole city underneath. And he runs into, looks like Bosk or at least someone's member species. It's just that it looks like Bosk, looks like some bounty hunters. And one guy looks like he has the body of C-3PO. That's why I think that's not C-3PO at all. It's like, you look at this guy right here. Here we go. You look at this guy right here. You think, oh, is that C-3PO with a different head? No, it's a completely different character. See, that's what I mean. So after dealing with the bounty hunters, then he goes to a bar where he basically actually goes to a hospital. Yes, a hospital, not a bar. So he goes undercover at a hospital. He's looking for somebody. And chases some girl because she has info that he needs. Well, the story is that she basically kind of put a call out for the Jedi to help her to allow her to get to Coruscant to get this particular mineral that she can sell them. Except she broadcasts of a whole galaxy, and Mace Windu was sent to retrieve her. That's kind of the story for this book, and he basically acts as her bodyguard throughout the whole book. You see him basically show up his force powers. They go to this various tunnel, battle a creature, and then we cut to, yes, this is the actual place because it's the Palace of Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, I can tell by looking at that Palace of Jabba the Hutt because that's the only building ever shown on Tatooine aside from basically Mos Eisley. Except Jabba's not here. That's the weird thing. It is up in Jabba's palace, and we see this guy just hanging out in his palace. Looks like he has a turret gun attached to this balcony. He chats somebody, and of course, basically, Mace has to protect her. He, of course, uses his light. He talks about basically a lightsaber. And then we see two more hunters. One looks like he's in the same species as Shakti, except he's purple. Yeah, it just basically the style of species, except different skin color, but looks like the same species as Shakti. Shakti, actually, it was Shakti, different Jedi, but so then, of course, they managed to get to the surface, or basically she uncovers a land snow speeder. Yep, it's like the artist is basically taking inspiration from the original movies, and just, I mean, you look at this thing. It looks like the land speeders that Luke Skywalker drove in the very first movie, except this is painted white and it flies over snow. Technically, it's a land speeder. And of course, this shows her backstory, and of course, bounty hunters are on the trail. He goes up, deals the bounty hunters. Then they leave the desert. They leave the ice to go to a grassland and go to spaceport, and then they go to a ship. And I look at the ship, and I'm like, wait, is that the Millennium Falcon? Yeah, with the exception, you take out that yellow thing there, it looks like the same model as Millennium Falcon. Except we don't get really a clear view of the damn thing because we just showed the interior a little bit. Which, yeah, I'm sure that this ship is based upon the Millennium Falcon. Now, I can tell it's on the Millennium Falcon because it's yellow on top. And plus, there's a thing in the middle, which was actually a escape pod in the original in Solo. So, yeah, you can tell by the interiors. Yeah, it's obviously the Millennium Falcon. Well, it's a version of it. Then basically you have Mace Windu contacting a spaceship. They manage to, he fights up more bounty hunters. He also one basically block his lightsaber with a freaking with a energy powered stick. Which, by the way, this would use also in Episode 3 Attack of Clones by General Grievous' bodyguards, except basically that was red, not green. So then we kind of have a better look at the ship a little bit, where, yeah, it kind of looks like Millennium Falcon, but not really. I'd say loosely based on the design of it. And then, of course, you have the ship being picked up by this guy, thrown around. The ship was destroyed. And then, of course, they hop in the freighter, and, of course, they go off to space. And that's it. Yeah, mission accomplished. What happens next? Don't know. There wasn't a follow-up to this one. Yeah. We're going to get miniseries for, in the case of Star Wars. Yes, it is quite interesting to say the least. I'm going to give the book roughly a 9 out of 10. Next up we have is a book that was written by one of the screenwriters of Guardians of the Galaxy. That being Gamora, Memento Mori. And this is presumably set years before she won the Guardians of the Galaxy. Except there's one continuity error with this book. Is that when we show a flashback to Nebula, they have it with the cybernetic, despite the fact she didn't get into an issue with Silver Surfer. You have, of course, Nicole Perman basically as the writer of this book. Apparently this book was actually delayed. I remember when this book was released. I read an article that this book was actually delayed by almost a year for reasons. Excuse me. The first 4 books were released on time, and then for some reason the last issue was released 2 months after issue 4 came out. Why that is, I don't know. But I at least got to praise the fact that Marvel Comics had Nicole Perman work with an excellent artist with Marco Chettito, who was really good, by the way. The cover is Isaac Rubik, another really good artist. Despite what he did with the pages of Eternals by having one panel where, or it looks like Captain Marvel. It's supposed to be Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, but when I saw the panel, I was like, oh, it's no lady cosplaying as Carol Danvers. Because it looks like an old lady. So, the first couple issues focus on basically where you have Gamora basically going after the Brotherhood of the Badoon, where it's like, yeah, about name is Heir, the Emperor, Brother Royale, and think, oh, it's going to be his son. No, his daughter, because he had a daughter because apparently this species is all guys. Yep, so then Gamora proceeds to massacre the whole royal family because the Brother Badoon killed her family. And then we see, here's Nebula here with cybernetics, despite the fact she should be having cybernetics here. And then, this is weird. So we have this orbital bunker, and I don't know if the artists do this on purpose. It's just that when I see this room, the way these chairs are designed, I'm like, wait a minute. Did the artists here rip off the Enterprise E with this briefing room? Yes, look at this. I mean, the way the windows are designed, the table, like, this looks like the Enterprise E briefing room. The version that was seen in, I think it was, Nemesis, I think it was, yes. It was Nemesis that this place was seen, last seen. I was seeing Nemesis. It was seen all 3 films that featured Enterprise E. This room was always featured. And I look at something, yeah, that's the Enterprise E briefing room. And we see, oh yeah, apparently the Brother Royale had basically cheated on him. And also the fact that Gamora thinks she's the last species, and it's found in the book check she really isn't. So, then she fired her sister, which originally she was mentioned to be Thanos' granddaughter, despite the fact that it's kind of a weird relationship, so... And then, of course, basically, you have Gamora being tortured over the fact that she's avenging her species because she thinks she's the last of her kind. And then we have this guy who appears in this book. He's like, new bit on something, and of course you have Thanos. Thanos does not do much in the book, and apparently... So, Nebula sends Gamora to this planet that's near a freaking black hole. Yes, a black hole. Which, yeah, this place is dangerous. Oh, and here's a little fun fact. Did you know last year, NASA basically spotted a black hole near the solar system? Yes, seriously. It's actually up on the internet. It went up last year, where they actually took a picture of an actual black hole currently in space right now. Yeah, how long it's been there, I don't know. It's just that the image people have a black hole was people receive movies, and then NASA, with one of their orbital telescopes, managed to find a black hole like in nearby solar system. Yes, seriously. Excuse me. It's not near the solar system. It's like in nearby a solar system. But I heard it, I'm like, wow, that's actually quite cool. So, basically, you have Gamora fighting through, and she eventually lands on the plane. Of course, she runs, and we see this mysterious girl who, when she meets up with her in issue 3, that she thinks, oh, she's the Green Savior. And, of course, she was hired by the actual survivors people. Yep. So, Gamora is captured at the end of issue 2 by their mains brother, the Badoon. This is Singularity 105/68. Ubelix. She's about to be sacrificed, then she frees herself, and then she later runs into the girl with green hair, who actually is later revealed to be Brother Royale's daughter, making her the ruler of the Brother Badoon. Yes. Yeah, and Gamora's like, really? Yeah, and thinks, oh yeah, you're not the last of Zen Watabi. That's Gamora species, because here are the survivors, a bunch of exiled criminals who get killed off in issue 5. Yes, so they disagree with the methods and they get killed off by issue 5. It's like, okay, a very interesting idea when it comes to Gamora. And basically, they have to work with them. Eventually, she does get rid of them, making her once again the last of her species. Thanos does not take part in this miniseries. And eventually, of course, basically, the girl is free to do whatever she wants by the end of it. The planet falls in the black hole. And then she goes back to Thanos' ship. And that's it. I initially thought when this book came out, that was an ongoing series. I never saw anything this was a limited series. No, it was not. And here's also something kind of interesting about this book. That with the exception of Gamora, Thanos, and Nebula, all of the original characters in this book never return. Nope. Never do. Almost all of them get killed off by the end of the series. Do not know the reason for this. Yes, it's like the writers of the Marvel Comics do not want to feature anything with this book at all. The book was really good. Yeah, really good. I think the cover probably did an excellent job with this book. I am surprised she didn't do any more Gamora books. I mean, you read this book, you're like, wow, this book was really good. Why was this an ongoing series? Honestly, I really question. Yep. So yeah, this particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. I'll get Gamora a 10 out of 10 because that book was really good, okay? Next video, which will be Case Goes. Bye.